papayas and melons and kiwis and mangoes and cherries and strawberries and blackberries and boysenberries and limes and dragon fruit. I don't know. Dragon fruit seems out of place, but... And avocados. Avocados are fruits. Did you guys know that? This is a very fruity intro for this week's episode of Shank. We have an amazing episode for you this week with Ryan Sickler, but before we get into that, I just want to tell you about something that excites me, and that's CBD. And not just any CBD, Care by Design CBD. Why? Because I get anxiety. Why? Because life is stressful. And what better way to chill out than with a little bit of CBD? Care by Design makes the most amazing products. They have sublingual drops. Those are my personal favorite. But they also have topical ointments if you have muscle pains, aches and pains, sprains, anything like that. Care by Design's the right choice for you. They also have soft gel capsules, which are really great if you aren't into drops. Capsules, just take it like a pill, and it's good for inflammation, anxiety, anything and everything you need to treat. I love CBD, and specifically Care by Design CBD. If you go to ease.com and you enter discount code SHANK, SHENK, you can get 20% off on all Care by Design products. And make sure to subscribe, rate, and review to my podcast on iTunes. If you're enjoying it, please leave a review. That makes a really big difference for me. Make sure you're also subscribing on YouTube. And special thanks to BetterBox TV and Speedweed. I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode with Ryan Sickler. Here it is. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Shank. I'm Sara Weinshenk, and today's guest is Ryan Sickler.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm very excited to be here. You know it.
I'm excited to have you on because it took us a while to schedule, as it does.
It is. It's the worst part of podcasting is trying to get 2 or 3 human beings into one room for an hour and talk. It's the worst. It's the hardest part. Scheduling's insane. Because
everyone's schedule is so fucking different and so weird.
Yeah.
Do you find that? Yeah?
I do.
We were just talking about the herpes outbreak. The herpes outbreak. At Lowell Cafe.
Yeah, well, a mutual friend of ours was telling me, because I've been there 3 times. I loved it. You said you've been there, right?
I've been there once, had the time of my fucking life.
It was fantastic.
You can smoke weed inside. It's great.
History. It's history in America. First place, quote unquote, legal, I guess, in the U.S. But when I was 16, I played soccer for a U.S. team, and we went to Europe for a month. I'm 46 now. This is 30 years ago, and I was in cannabis cafes all over there when I was 16. So to see it happen, it took 30 fucking years still it's the one and only, I think, in the United States right now. Maybe there's some in Colorado, but at least in California. And our friend was saying that a few people got herpes, and I was like, nah, man, that would make the news. And he's like, Google it. And I start Googling it. We're backstage at the Comedy Store, and it pops right up. I'm like, ah! And then I started like, what was it from? Like the forks, or did they, not cleaning? And apparently, and I'm just telling you what I read, and I didn't dive deep at all because I was like, why do you need to dive any deeper if it's confirmed it's there? But I guess they said a manager or an employee had it, and they were sharing a gravity bong, and I guess they didn't clean it, and several people reported that they got herpes. That's what this article says. I cannot say anything beyond that because all I did is read this article. But I was then started tripping me out like, fuck all the restaurants we eat at and the silverware, and I was a busboy in high school for this retirement community. They didn't want to call it an old age home. It was a retirement community. That's what they called it. It's an old age home. And I remember they would bleach the silverware first and then put it into the dishwashers with that high power, high heat, all that stuff. Yeah. Like it was this double, you have to do this. But I just started thinking about that, like, fuck, you can have a dirty fork. And we were talking about, I'm laughing because it's what if you took a date for your first time to the Weed Cafe, it's your first date, and then you get herpes and you blame that guy or that girl But only to find out later that after doing that, it was really the gravity bong and not them at all.
But the worst part, that would be the worst thing ever. It'd be like you're paying to get herpes. Right?
Yeah, but unintentionally. If you get a prostitute, you're paying, rolling the dice, knowing that could absolutely happen.
Totally.
Here, you're just going to enjoy a meal and some marijuana, not even considering there would even be an ounce of possibility that you could contract herpes from doing those two things.
Yeah, no, it's wrong on every level. And I'm just imagining somebody rubbing their sore up against a bong. You know what I mean?
Scratching it.
Just scratching their like crusted ass sore on the edge of the gravity bong, right?
Yeah.
And here you are. The gravity bong's expensive as fuck to rent too. Do you know how expensive it is? It's like, I want to say $100 and something.
I had never seen this kind of gravity bong before, because the way we used to gravity bong was cut a milk jug in half.
Yeah.
Put it in the sink, pull it up, boom, hit the gravity bong like that. I had never seen this thing look like
old school way.
Yeah, this thing didn't look. It looked like one of those old school microphones, like the shape of a pill.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
And like you rotate it and it has a mouthpiece on it and all this. So I was watching people do it at this table, and I was like, but never once.
It's almost intimidating looking.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. It's weird looking.
Yeah,
but
it's
never
really
once did I think these 5 people sharing this, what if somebody has herpes? I didn't think that.
Hey, but you know what? I kind of am happy because I was wanting to get it. I was wanting to do the gravity bong, and I feel like I was missing out. Now I don't feel like I was missing out.
You missed out on herpes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, also, I smoke joints at a place like that too. I try to be street smart about. I've been drugged before by accident. I drank a drink. Thank God, to be honest with you, that I'm positive was meant for some girl, but I got it. And it fucked me up. Where were you? I was in Baltimore, and I'm drinking with 2 of my friends at this place called The Spot back in the day.
Okay.
And The Spot from like, it was something like 7 and 9 was like $2 beer and rail drinks. Okay. And then after that, we move on to a nicer place. So we go to this place, and there was a rumor that there was a bartender there that would spike girls' drinks. Girls had told us that, you know, my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. So we're in there one night. I remember I had a beer and 2 screwdrivers, and shitty, cheap screwdrivers, you know, which who drinks that anyway and pounds them.
A screwdriver.
Ugh. And then we leave to go to the next bar.
Okay.
And once we get in the next bar, so I'd say maybe it's 15 minutes since I've had that last drink and get into this next bar. We park, we walk, get in, and my friend Joe says, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I said, I got to go too. He's walking in front of me, and I'm walking, but I feel like I'm moonwalking. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
And I remember looking what I thought was straight ahead, and this like Asian dude's face came in from the side, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm staring at him, and I go, "Wait a minute, am I on the floor?" He goes, "Yeah, man, you fell." I didn't feel it, nothing. And I was like, "What?" So they pull me up. I go into the men's room. I'm like, "Joe, you didn't see me fall on the floor?" And then the holy hell comes out of me, and I just start throwing up like I've never thrown up in my life. Like
really?
Everywhere. I cannot stop. Like a South Park episode. I cannot fucking stop. We go back to the table. I am done. I mean, I could easily see how someone could be robbed, raped, anything on whatever this is that I'm on. I can't do anything. I'm at our table, and the only thing that keeps me from not vomiting is I have my arms folded and I'm resting my head on. I can't turn left or right. It has to be straight up and down. And I'm just mumbling. I can't talk, and I'm so fucking thirsty. They go up to get drinks, and they don't realize how bad I am. They just think, oh, he's fucked up or whatever. And I'm like, please get me water, please get me water. And then the vomit doesn't stop, and I'm grabbing cups on the table, and I'm throwing up, and I'm putting them up everywhere.
Throwing up in random cups.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm spreading my legs and just power puking between my legs. And it's not stopping. It is not fucking stopping. And I can't do anything. And people are touching me like, hey, buddy. And I'm just, you know, like, get the fuck off of me. So I tell my friends, like, you have to get the car. I got something's wrong.
This
Get
is like
the
a
car.
nightmare.
So they both go to leave. I go, don't leave me. You can't leave. And they leave me. They leave me. They go get the car. They come back. They get me in the car. I sit up front. We start driving home. They're arguing about which exit on the freeway to get us home. And I this is all clear as day. And I go, you need to go right. And we go, and boom, that's it. I wake up the next day around noon. I don't remember anything. Nothing.
Whoa.
So thank goodness I took it, because that was definitely meant for some girl that was not going to work out so well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen it again, too, in another bar in Baltimore. A bunch of us all went out one night. Our friends, their girlfriends, their wives. Whenever I go home and visit, I usually have a big crowd will come out. We'll just all meet together and kill a bunch of birds with one stone, because then these people haven't seen these people in a while.
Right.
It's nice. It's very nice.
Yeah.
But again, same thing about this other dude at this bar. And my friend's wife, Lisa, that we're all out hanging out. We go back, and a bunch of us are smoking weed, and we're playing Madden.
Okay.
But-
as one does.
As we do. This is a little while ago. Not too long ago, but a little while ago. In my 30s.
You don't have to make excuses
And-
for your Madden playing.
I love it. And Lisa and her husband, our friend Troy, they go downstairs.
Okay.
And they sleep. But Lisa comes upstairs, and I mean, she has 2 black eyes. Her clothes look like they've been ripped off of her. And we've known them for years. So guys rush down there thinking that he got drunk and beat his wife, you know. And he's dead asleep. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she got drugged. She went into our friend's closet. She pulled her pants down and peed in there.
No.
She did. She was
No.
on her fucking period. This
No.
poor girl, yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was
On her period?
Yeah, it was a mess. And she doesn't remember any of it. Like, her husband had to tell her everything. Like, I felt awful for her. And but she definitely got something that was meant for probably someone else too, because we were all in a large group together. And she was fucked up and does not remember that.
She peed in the closet
Peed in the
while she
closet.
was on her period?
And we saw her going to pee, and we didn't say anything because he was like, what's happening? I was like, I don't know. I think she's going to her closet.
No.
And then she pulled her pants down. We were like, oh my God. She did. She peed right in there.
That's a nightmare.
And doesn't remember it. So yeah, it's those fucking things are, yeah.
So, okay, but like, I remember in college, sometimes my girlfriends and I'd be like, I think somebody slipped us something. It's like, no, bitch, we actually had like 8 drinks last night. And we're like,
That's
we're like
why we blacked out.
110 pounds drinking 8 drinks. You know? I used to just say that in college all the time. So funny. Yeah, so where did you start stand-up?
I started in Baltimore
Okay.
When I was 20, but I only did it for a few months. And then a bunch of life shit happened, and I didn't do it again until I moved out here when I was 27.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started a little late.
Not that late. But
Yeah.
now sometimes you meet people that like, I started stand-up when I was 15. I was like, how the fuck did you start when you were 15? You're not even allowed out of the house. I don't understand. Right?
Especially today, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I don't understand. It's so crazy. Yeah, that's around, I started like 23.
23.
Yeah. So what was the scene like in Baltimore?
There was
None.
I mean, there was one club, the Comedy Factory, and then when the restaurant under them closed, they moved to a new location, which there was also another club there for a little while, but they would always go under. You know what I mean? They'd be there
Right.
for a minute, then they're gone. There was no real scene there. So if you wanted to do comedy and that's where you were going to do it, then you'd either go to New York or you'd go to D.C.,
Got it.
you know, and do it there. There's some spots in Baltimore, and I go home every year and I do a show at this crab house every year, and I pack it out and just do like a one-nighter. Last year I did 2 nights, but this year I just did one night, and it's just so much fucking fun.
When you say crab house,
So it's just a restaurant. It's
are
a
people
crab
wearing like
restaurant.
those bibs that they eat crab legs
No, because
in?
people that eat crabs don't wear the bibs. They just tear them up like people that eat crawfish. That's lobster mostly. The people that
Okay,
always put because
okay.
that's, you know, they're
I'm learning
pinkies
some
up,
shit.
You know what I mean?
So, do you think it's like a snobby thing to wear the bib?
I mean, I think it's a class thing.
You think it's classy to wear the bib?
No. I don't think it's classy. I think it's I think a certain class thinks they should wear a bib, and other people are like, I'm just gonna wear my fucking my goddamn Tweety Bird T-shirt.
Yeah,
You
my
know?
goddamn Tweety Bird T-shirt. That's amazing.
popular in Baltimore.
Yeah, they are? What else is popular in Baltimore?
Cigarettes, addiction, scratch-offs. That always kills me when I go back home. It's funny because out here I see I don't see a lot of people smoke cigarettes much out here anymore. I see vape mostly. But back there I still see cigarettes. I feel like more than I see vape.
Yeah.
You know.
So cigarettes are alive and well in Baltimore. What else?
Well, the drug problem is out of control. It's all the opiates. And what's the new one right now? Oh my God, come on, Ryan. The one that's killing everybody right now. Fentanyl. Thank you, fentanyl. Thank you from the booth. Good save. Good save.
Thank you, Gage.
That's exactly what it is.
Fentanyl.
And the stuff that's coming in, I read these articles about how powerful this stuff is. There's a whole Netflix, Drugs Inc. I think does a whole thing on it. It's like 1,000 times more powerful than heroin. So they're cutting the heroin with it to get you hooked on that shit over there. Then they get you hooked on this. And they said the stuff that's coming in from overseas is so potent that the DEA that are touching it are getting high from just handling it. Like, that's how potent this shit is. So drugs have gone like way crazy, especially in a city like Baltimore. Heroin, pills, all the opiates are super popular because all the white kids get on the pills first, and then as soon as the scripts run out, they go to the city to get the heroin. Well, now they're on the heroin because it's cheaper and it's the same thing, but as soon as that shit gets cut with that goddamn fentanyl,
that's it.
Boom, that's it.
Wow. Well, where did the Tweety Bird shirts come into play?
Well, Tweety Bird, so I always laugh because the girls, there's a certain type of woman in Baltimore that always is out on the corner with a Tweety Bird shirt and like acid wash cut off jeans, you know, those jorts. And flip-flops, but the kind you can get at the grocery store, you know.
Yeah.
And they have a little cigarette pouch, you know, the change purse type pouch, those longer ones. They got their cigarettes and their lighter in there and stuff, and they're always smoking, and there's probably a baby on this hip
that's amazing.
That may or may not be theirs.
Okay.
And they always rock that Tweety Bird, you know, those oversized Looney Tunes t-shirts.
I love that. Mm-hmm. That's such a specific picture you just painted of the Tweety Bird.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
You know that girl.
You took me right there.
You bummed a cigarette off her before.
Yeah. Totally. One time I bummed a cigarette off of a meth head, and she asked me if I was okay, and I was like, I'm not having a good day.
You worry about you.
Yeah. When you're asking a meth head for a cigarette, and they're asking you if you're okay, it's never a good sign. No, Tweety Bird. There's something about a Looney Tunes shirt that can, in the wrong place, it could just... It really does paint a fucking picture. You just painted such an amazing picture. I'm still there reliving it. I'm like, damn, I want to talk to her, you know?
Yeah.
I want to find out if that baby is or isn't hers.
This is the block one of my cousins lives on. So they live in Highlandtown, which used to be the Greek part of Baltimore, but you know, that's long gone these days. There's a few restaurants still there, but everything's a bit of a melting pot now, and they live on this one particular block where this is what's kind of crazy. So he married his wife, who he married. That's what a wife is. He married her, but he met her in this corner bar.
Okay.
His dad met his mom in that same corner bar.
No.
This is what we're talking about.
And by corner bar, do you mean that's like in a strip mall and it's in the corner? No,
it's on the corner of the block. Here's all the row homes. We get the bar on the corner.
Okay.
So that's the local bar that these few streets frequent this bar.
Okay.
And they do shit like you can play their video poker or their Keno or their numbers, and they'll pay you under the table and not take the cut out. That's why they want you in there. You know, they used to. I was at my aunt's house who had a bar right across the street one time. They live on the other side of Eastern Avenue. So if you picture Sunset, we're on this side. They live on that side.
Okay, got it.
And there was a bar there, and we're all playing out front. And I'm probably in middle school. And then we just see this raid happen. But I didn't know what a raid was. I'm asking my dad, like, what the fuck's going on? There's police running there. And he's like, oh, they're raiding it because they're doing illegal gambling in the back. And they were paying out their customers cash instead of putting the money to the government.
Oh.
So you play, that's like what running numbers is. You use the government's lottery. You just pay me. And instead of, if if you win, I'll give you 100% instead of whatever, the government takes their cut, 40%, let's say.
That's
so instead
crazy.
of 60 or 70%, give me your money. We'll use their numbers, and then I'll pay you out of my pocket.
And then they got busted at that
Big
corner
time.
bar.
That corner bar, Tracy's, it was called.
Tracy's? Does it still exist?
I think, yeah, that bar is still there. I don't know if it's still called Tracy's or not. But so the other bar on the other side. So my cousin Gary meets her there. She has a kid from another relationship.
Okay.
And they end up getting married. The son is now his stepson. And now they're having a baby. Mm-hmm. And his wife's name is Georgiana, but everybody calls her George, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
So she's like, takes no shit, whatever. She runs that fucking bar. Like
George takes no shit.
She'll make like macaroni and cheese and take it in for everybody. You know what I mean?
That's
like
amazing.
That's that kind of place.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, George brought her mac and cheese, and everybody's eating that shit up, and she's in night pants over there running around real quick before she comes on her shift. That kind of local shit.
Okay.
So she's pregnant. She's had a baby before, so she knows what this is like, and her sisters come over to help her out. And side note, my cousin Gary is almost 90% deaf, okay?
Okay.
He doesn't hear shit, obviously. Well, her sister's there to help, and she says to her sister, I feel like this it's here. I feel like it's coming. So they go up to the hospital to get admitted, and they say, it's not ready. You're not ready. And she's like, I've had a baby before. I know what's going on. They're like, no, you're not ready. So they send her home. And I think it's like a few hours later, same thing again. She's like, no, it's here. I know what's going on. It's here. They go back up again. Same thing. No, go home. So she's arguing that I don't want to go home. Go home. So she goes home. So a little bit later that night, she looks at her sister. She's like, Ryan, I told her this baby's here, and she pulled up her like little dress, moo thing or whatever she's wearing, and she's the crowning. The baby's here, and her sister screams. Her son sees it, and he passes the fuck out. He just collapses and drops on the floor. He sees a baby come out of his mother's vagina. No. And it was system overload. He collapses on the floor. And she's like, holy shit. They're yelling for my cousin to get the car, bring it around. Because, it's a one-way street. Get the car. We got to go back up. And he can't hear. He's not even in there. He's in the back. He can't hear it. They're screaming. So finally, they just call the ambulance. The ambulance comes. And they deliver this goddamn baby in the fucking living room on her goddamn couch and then put her on the stretcher. At this point, an ambulance has been sitting on a block. I always say, if there's Oprah might as well walk on that block. Everyone's coming out to see what's going on. And she's in this stretcher with, she just gave birth. She's all over the fucking place, and they're rushing her out to the goddamn hospital. And that's how they had their fucking baby there. That's that kind of corner bar, those type of...
No fucking way. I'd be so pissed.
Yeah, she was. She was trying to do something about it, but they said there was really nothing they could.
If I went to the fucking hospital... Twice in one day, and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna have this baby, and they sent me home.
Yep.
And then I had to do it at home.
Mm-hmm. And your son passed out on the floor because he saw it.
Yeah. Can you imagine seeing that as a kid?
I go, what do you tell him? She goes, I told him this is what happens when you kiss girls too early.
No,
so that kid's never gonna kiss a girl.
Never. He's scarred for life.
For life. That kid was scarred before she told him that he was scarred. Dude passed out. His system early just boom. He couldn't even take it. He dropped. She's got a baby coming out of her. Her son just dropped. She's like, what the fuck's going on?
Wait. How old was her son when this happened?
He was like, I have to ask again, but I think like 8 or 9, somewhere in there.
And that's like young.
It's that age where you're starting to remember. And you're realizing shit about life and babies, and then you see it. She just lifted her thing up, like telling her sister, like, this shit's here. It's here. And
that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I feel like I would faint if I saw a baby coming out of a vagina.
On someone's living room couch, I might also, yeah. If we're not I've watched my daughter's mother have a baby, so I was good to go on all of that, which I didn't think I would be, but I was fine on all of that.
You were prepped for it?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's different when it's yours. Than it is just watching a stranger deliver another stranger's strange baby. because you don't know any of
Yeah,
those people.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
know the
yeah, yeah.
doctor, you
There's
don't know
nothing
the parents. It's all
creepier
strangers.
than that,
Yeah,
right?
It's all strangers.
The stranger.
Yeah, but if it's your shit, then you're shit. If it's
That's
your
my
baby,
shit.
there
Yeah.
might be shit involved.
Yeah.
If it's your baby, because I thought the same thing. I thought this is going to be gross, blood, placenta, all this shit going on.
You just said placenta.
Ugh. And I was fine. I was fine.
You know those women who talk about placenta like all the time? They're like, I saved my placenta.
Yes.
It's so good
Ate
for
some
you.
of it.
Yeah, they eat it,
put it in my
lather
shampoo.
it themselves in it. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is that about?
Well, here's what's crazy for me. I didn't know what a placenta was. I didn't know I didn't know it was this afterbirth that also needed to be delivered until health class in high school. I think I was a freshman or sophomore. And it was the worst because it was right before lunch on Pizza Friday. Health was my class right before lunch on Pizza Friday. And I saw that and I was like, oh, this purple, oh, what is that? And they're like, well, this is the afterbirth. This is the sac the baby's in. And so then it made sense to me too. Like, oh yeah, the baby's not just in this stomach. It's in this but I didn't realize. I guess maybe it busted like a balloon and that's what all the shit was all over it when you're pulling it out.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was an afterbirth.
So that has to come out after.
So when they were delivering that, when they were taking that out of my daughter's mother, I was cutting the cord and I just had my back to that shit. I was like, I remember this from health class. I remember this from health class.
Cutting the cord.
Yeah.
Giving yourself tasks.
Yeah.
Was it weird cutting the cord?
No, I actually told a whole story on my last album about it because, the truth is, as a man, when you're in that room, you're kind of in the way. You know what I mean? There is nothing I can do to help you except for talk to you, maybe calm you down if that works, that sort of thing. Whatever you need, I'm there to aid you. But really, in the scheme of delivery and medical and there's nothing I can do. So the only thing I could do, which I was stoked to do, was literally separate my daughter from her mother. That was the one thing I could do in this room. But the crazy thing I don't get into, and that was, so when they gave her epidural, she sat up, and they didn't say you couldn't move or anything, and it did something bad happened. It was like, bah, 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 bah. All these alarms are going off. The doctor came running in. And when you see a doctor get nervous, that makes you nervous.
Hell yeah. Even when a doctor is not nervous, I'm nervous.
Yeah, right. Yes. And she's like, you weren't supposed to do this. And both of us you didn't say not to move. You didn't give her any instructions. You just had someone put this in her back. And now, so she's like, we need to start the whole process over again. We're like, well, we're fine. Where the fuck are we going? Okay, if you have to start the process over again. But she was real worried. So then I think it's called meconium, I believe, is when the baby poops in the belly. So my daughter did. And she's like, I think when you leaned up and squeezed, that's what happened. So the concern with that, it's common, but the concern with that is if they cry and ingest any of the feces, now they could infect their lungs and all that. So they try to get the baby out before it cries. So they're going from vagina to me to cut the cord to hand to this dude over here who's going to suck all the shit out of her lungs and nasal passage and everything before she cries.
No!
Okay, so I'm like, oh my God. And they give me the scissors, and I talk about it. They were like junk drawer scissors. I thought I was going to get some Game of Thrones shit, And I was cutting, and I was getting so mad. I'm like, what the fuck? Who gave me these junk drawer scissors? I'm like, are these left-handed scissors? I'm not fucking left-handed. And I'm cutting, and I'm like, please, God, don't cry. Just don't fucking cry. And boom, just in time, hand it over to this dude. He does it all, and then she cries, all good to go. And I was like, fuck. So you don't even get to enjoy the beauty right away because you're like, hurry the fuck up and make sure that little baby does not cry or some bad shit could happen. And you're like, okay. But
so that's if the baby shits before it comes out.
Mm-hmm. And some babies do. They poop in the womb.
Hell no.
Yeah, that happens inside your belly.
You're tripping me out.
Listen, it's
you have such satisfaction. Yeah, that happens inside of your
I don't
belly.
have satisfaction. And here's I try to grow as a person and a man especially who also has a daughter because I want to know everything. And I'll be completely honest, I don't know if it's ego or just ignorance or stupidity or all of it rolled into one. But I remember hearing a girl one time say, when you leave sex, you don't have to worry about a person growing inside your body. And I was like, and it hit me in a way where I was probably in my 30s. And I was like, oh my God, I've never even worried about thinking that thought. You know what I mean? I've never left an encounter with a woman. I've always been worried about, like, I hope there's not a person in that person, but I've never had to be worried about a human being inside of me. And the way that when they said it like that, a person inside of you, I was like, oh my God, yeah. So I have the utmost respect for all of it. I do.
It's that I never even thought of that before. Like a baby shitting in the womb, and then you just took me on a journey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Between that and Lowell and
we went from herpes to drugs and
to
Tweety bird shirts.
Shitting in the womb. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it happens. But the crazy thing, like with our doctor, she's like, I'm going to that room right after you and pulling a human being out of that person. And then I'm going, and it's just like,
these doctors are savages.
Bang, bang, bang. I'm like, how many are you doing today? She's like, 5. I'm like, holy fuck.
And they're like so desensitized from it,
yes.
probably.
Yeah. And you're everything, you know, like, does my baby have all its fingers and toes? Yep. You know, all that. That's the first thing I was looking at. I was glancing quick, but you see all that in the 3D images and stuff anyway, but you still want to make sure that shit's there, you know.
The 3D images are crazy now,
They're
right?
creepy. I just was with Sarah Tiana at the Comedy Store. We were talking, and she showed me her 3D images, and I go, aren't they? They're like this gold, bronze, and it just looks so I don't care. We were like, it doesn't matter if it's yours. These look alien-like and creepy. They're super creepy, but very helpful, but real fucking weird looking.
Really?
Real weird looking.
But does it look exactly like your kid now?
Well, yeah, totally. You can see the images in there, yeah. But they look like
scary, right?
It looks scary. Yeah, it looks weird. And here's the thing too. Like, I'm a twin. Okay, I'm a fraternal twin.
You're a twin.
I'm a fraternal twin because my mom took fertility pills to have kids back in the 70s, and we're the byproduct of that. But even being a twin, again, this is.
Do you have a guy twin or a girl twin?
A brother, yeah.
Okay, you have a brother.
He's 4 minutes older, but I really believe I was conceived first. I was just delivered second.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm older. Yeah. You know,
I respect that.
All the time. I was formed first. They took you out first.
Wait, you know? So you're a twin?
Yeah. And when the nurse said, because we went for the sonogram and stuff, the nurse said, okay, I only hear one heartbeat. And my knees buckled for a second, because even being a twin, at that point still, I hadn't even considered what if there are 2 of them in there. You know, I hadn't even considered that. Like, fuck. So I was relieved it was 1. I was relieved. 2 at the same time. I don't know.
Twins?
Yeah. Twins.
Hell no.
No.
That'd be my nightmare.
That's a lot.
Right?
2 of them shitting in you at the same time. Imagine
2
that.
twin shit? 2, oh my God. 2 people shitting in my womb?
2 humans inside you after that sexual encounter. No herpes, but 2 human beings.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I'd want more.
They're both with you for life. I guess I'll take the kid. The kids could take care of it in the end. The herpes can't. You know what I mean? I'll take the kids.
That's true.
I'll take the kids. They could help you out.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the thought of breastfeeding 2 kids, too. The thought of breastfeeding 1 kid.
I watched all of it. I went to classes. I did everything. I was all into it.
You were?
Yeah, I would go. There's a place in Santa Monica called the Pump Station, and they're like...
Oh, yeah. I used to work for this lady, and she used to make me... She had like a mommy blog, and one time she made me go to the pump station for something, and it was way too much for me.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about, those type of people in this situation. But you want to hear what really surprised me? I walk in, and the lady goes, would you like a beer? But so I played along and said, yeah. And she goes, just go ahead in the back and grab one. And I go in the back, and there's fucking Heineken in there. I go, for real, I can have this? She goes, yeah. But now I'm also the only man in this whole meeting, and I'm drinking a beer in front of all these pregnant women. But she told me I could.
Yeah.
And then I felt like a real piece of shit. But the point she was making to women in this room were, and I was relieved by this because I thought it was a very, just holistic, you go by the letter of everything, and they were the opposite. They were like, do women in Japan eat sushi when they're pregnant? Yes. There have been billions of people. You're not the first person to get pregnant. Your kid's not the first one to ever get delivered. Excuse me. Do women drink wine in Europe while they're pregnant? Yeah. So they were telling them, like, don't go out and do gravity bong hits at Lowell's Cafe and get herpes.
Don't do fentanyl.
Don't do fentanyl. Yeah. But, half a glass of wine or a glass of wine here, maybe there, a little bit of sushi. I think their point was, there's a lot of anxiety that goes into wanting to be perfect, I'm sure, for a lot of women. Like, eat whatever that means, perfect. And, no smoking, no this, no that, all through your whole, watch the pills, no dyeing, coloring your hair. Like, there's so much that goes into what can affect a baby. And I think every woman out there, at least most of them, want to be, quote unquote, as perfect as they can for the health of their baby. And I think that's a ton of anxiety going into also just fucking having a human being that you have to take care of,
Ugh.
So I can't imagine. And I felt bad because my daughter's mother was, she had this, it ended up being pleurisy, it was called. I think I'm saying it right. And it was like
lung.
Yeah.
Where the lining of your lung rubs against your rib cage.
Yes.
And it hurts.
Look at you.
I know about that.
You got a medical background?
No.
No. It's pretty fucking impressive.
I do now, if
Where were you
anybody
when
asks.
this shit was going on? We called 911. She was like, I don't know. She thought she was having a heart attack.
Because it's like really painful out of nowhere.
She dropped to the floor. So we go, and they had to put her on all this pain medication. Thank God not fentanyl, but they did pump her full of opiates. Percocet and all this shit. And then told her she couldn't breastfeed. She'd have to. So she had pumped so much that we had saved in the freezer. And her goal, and I felt terrible for her, but she did a fucking awesome job, though. I will admit that. Her goal was to go for a year of breastfeeding, 1 full year. And we got to 9 months with the milk that she had produced. Because once you stop, you kind of dry up. And once that medication and shit hit her, she really couldn't produce that much. And she was so bummed. And I felt bad for her because I was like, I know you wanted that personal goal. But if you're worried about, like, how healthy our daughter is and did she get enough, she did. She did a great job with that. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I loved breastfeeding because she would just lay there and breastfeed. It was as soon as we had hit the bottle stage, that's when I also had to get up in the middle of the night and start going to another room and all that. It wasn't just put a baby on a boob while you're laying in bed. I could sit there and watch or sleep next to it. It was you get up, you go in there, you feed, you bounce on that goddamn ball and get her to sleep.
Bounce on that goddamn ball.
Those exercise balls, you just sit and bounce a baby and they'll right out.
Really?
The moment you fucking stop, right back up. I say a lot. I feel like I rode a horse cross country like 40 fucking times because you're just sitting there bouncing on this goddamn thing.
Just feeding a baby like that.
Your legs are burning. You're like nothing. Your legs, your abs, and you just want to tap out so bad. You just want to tap out. We would have a camera in there, and I'd be trying to but she'd be in there sleeping or probably faking it because I would be too. I don't blame her. It's a lot on you.
Those exercise balls I have, I'm scarred for life because right out of college, I went for a job interview, and the guy who was interviewing me, instead of having a chair at his desk, he had one of those exercise balls. I swear to God.
With or without the back?
Without a back. It was just like one of those big ones, and he's like, in the middle of the interview, he's just bouncing up and down, and he was such a fucking dick, and he was on a ball, and I was like, first of all, not only are you interviewing me while you're working out, but you're an asshole.
Yeah, what a dick.
You know?
What kind of job was this that he's working out?
It was like
he's an egotistical maniac.
He was a monster. It was like some production job where he wanted to pay me barely anything. And when I asked for more money, he said no. And he was just like really aggressive and working out in the middle of the day, in the middle of this interview. I was like, I can't with your engaged core right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, American Psycho.
I'm going to need for you to scale it back. Yeah, it's too much.
Ah, shit.
So you have a podcast, right?
I do, yeah.
It's called Honeydew?
Yeah, the Honeydew.
Why did you name it Honeydew?
Well, I named it the Honeydew because I ended the Crab Feast with Jay Larson. We had ended that show, and I didn't want to stop podcasting, and I was unsure what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to do one on my own also because of scheduling. And I started off even wanting to do the Honeydew with co-hosts and all that stuff, but then, you know, everybody gets so busy or gets their own shows, and, you know, there that goes. But I was sitting in a diner one night having dinner, and they brought the fruit cup comes with it, and I ate all the fruit, but I didn't eat the Honeydew. And I don't have this like hate for Honeydew or think it's gross. I just don't fuck with the Honeydew.
Yeah.
And then when I walked out, I saw Honeydew scattered on so many plates left, and I thought, oh, a lot of people
don't fuck with the honeydew.
And it's this perfectly good fruit that people throw away time and time again. And then it made me think of myself, and I was like, oh my God, I'm a fucking honeydew. I've been thrown away and thrown away and thrown away so many times, and you know, I'm not strawberries.
You're a perfectly good fruit.
Perfectly good fruit. You just toss them to the side. Yeah. For that strawberry over there, it's just gonna rot and let you down too. You know. So I called it the Honeydew, and it's stories. I call it highlighting the lowlights. So people come on and talk about whether it's a life story or honeydew moments, I call them. I mean, my God, people have come on and talked about rape, incest, molestation, addiction. I didn't even know what I was going to be hearing.
Right.
And it's been, I was just telling a friend about this. It's been so eye-opening, and because I know my story, and my story's a tough story. And sometimes I sit across from people and I'm like, this is what you're fucking bitching about.
Right.
And then other times I'm like, what the fuck am I bitching about? Like, I didn't go through anything like this, you know? So it's been very eye-opening, and it's been quite a perspective on life, and it's changed a lot of things for me in a great way. And again, I love comedy so fucking much, and I love doing comedy so much. But I love comedians, and I've had a renewed appreciation for them because these people come in and talk about the darkest times in their life and put a smile on that shit and a spin of humor on that. And that's always how my family has been, and it's always the people I've been drawn to and relate to, because I mean, that's the best thing you can do is make light of it and not just sit over in some corner sucking on herpes bongs and fentanyl and killing yourself because life is hard. You know, you hear these people who are at these pinnacles in their lives and careers, and you're like, oh my God, you went through that, or you're now going through that, or whatever it is. And some people have come on and just told, one of my favorite types of episodes is just embarrassing moment after embarrassing moment and humiliation and, you know, all those. And then other people tell a life story. Some people have just told one story for the entire episode. So it's been a lot of fun. TheHoneydewPodcast.com.
TheHoneydewPodcast.com. Check that out. That's so cool. Yeah, I do think it's important as comedians to talk about those things, because if we're not going to talk about it and make it lighter, then who else will, you know? I
mean, most of us are comedians for a reason, and it does not come from a great place.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. We weren't, yeah. And the ones who came from a great place aren't funny.
They just got a lot of darkness they haven't unveiled yet.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Let's see some unveiling, you know what I mean?
Life's look, it's a long-term game. Just because you got through your 20s, 30s, and 40s unscathed, your 50s, 60s, and 70s might be hell for you. So I'd rather get it out first and coast on the backside than coast in and then have to, you know, rough it out on the way out.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
What other, okay. So sometimes we talk about fashion on this show. So I want to know, what are some fucking fashion things? Like, did you have any weird fashion phases that you went through?
Yeah, well, back in the day, so I'm 46. I'm a product of the 80s. So I had fat laces.
Ooh, fat laces.
And I would double fat lace, too. I wouldn't just do one in each shoe. I would double my chucks with double fat laces.
Double fats.
Always rolled and cuffed the pants. That was a big thing back in the day, rolling and cuffing the jeans. And I'm proud to say never Michael Jackson jackets and never parachute pants. My grandmother, my mom's mom, bought me a pair of parachute pants one time. I hung them in my fucking closet, and I never felt guilty about not wearing them. And then once they were too small, I just gave them to somebody. I'm wearing parachute pants.
You never fuck with the parachute pants.
No, I was never into parachute pants. Jams were a thing.
Yeah.
You know Jams?
They're like those bright colored shorts.
The flowered shorts, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you're California, so surfing and all that. But that was big.
Jams World.
In Maryland, Jams came. And then my mom would not get us Jams. My mom wasn't the best.
They were so cool.
And she ended up going to Joann Fabrics and making us Jams.
No. Your own
and
Jams?
Yeah, but they were like, I swear to you, they were as thin as like a napkin. They were the worst. They were the worst. It was humiliating.
She made you your own jams?
Homemade jams. We got hams. Yep.
That's so funny. Jams. We had hams.
I'm still, always have been and still will be fucking... I love night pants at night. I call them night pants.
What are night pants?
Just lounge pants.
Your jammies?
My night pants, just at night.
Your night pants? Okay.
And then...
Is that like a pair of flannel pants?
Yeah, like that. Night pants.
Your night pants?
It's on my Instagram. I'm going to sell Honeydew night pants. I'm talking to Gino about doing that shit. We're going to sell them. I want to do I've been thinking about seriously doing a night pants tour.
Night pants?
Come out in your night pants and watch, and then you just go home.
That's
you're already
dope.
Fucking ready to go home, you know?
Yeah. So many people would be down with that,
lounge
right?
In your night pants, yeah. You don't have them, buy a pair at the show. I got some.
Your night pants?
Night pants world tour 2020.
I like it. Night pants world tour.
Let's see. I had an overcoat.
Phase.
6th and 7th grade was big for everybody. Started buying overcoats at like the surplus store and shit. So
and like buy an overcoat. Are we talking like a trench coat?
Yeah, trench coat.
Okay.
Yeah, for like the winters. And that wasn't long. Fat laces. I remember.
A trench coat.
We would cut the lines in the side of the hair, you know. And I didn't go as far as some guys did, but they would take that zinc and they would do colors. Like Bosworth back in the day on the Sooners and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a mullet, a beautiful, beautiful mullet.
You had a beautiful mullet?
My mullet was...
Paint a picture.
This haircut right here.
Yeah. And
all your hair down in the back.
No.
Yeah, it was... It was a fucking... A glorious.
So
it was a glorious mullet. Yeah, that was the picture. This haircut right here, but all long in the back. That's the best picture I could paint.
Crazy.
And I would brush it out. Like we all have bets who could grow out the longest, and I'll brush this thing out, and it got stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid long. It would lay on my shoulders and stuff.
It was stupid long.
Yeah,
your mullet.
Long. It was really long.
How old were you when you had your mullet?
Senior. I got my senior picture, which was like the summer between 11th and 12th grade when you were going in, with my hair short, and from that snap of the photo, I started growing it. I know there's a video somewhere that exists of me on like a senior cruise, like they would do them around the harbor or whatever, and I had the mullet because I remember seeing the shitty hair blow in the wind, but I think my hair, I cut it before I graduated.
So did you want it to do it like ironically, or were you just like, this is a fierce look?
I didn't think it was a fierce look. Everybody sort of had them, but we did it as a bet. Whoever could grow the longest one by then. And then no one even paid up anyway, but I still had it. I stayed last.
You still had the mullet even though you never got paid.
And then cut it. Mm-hmm. And that's how everybody did. They had their hair like this and then all long.
That wild.
Was a big thing. I had a pair of cowboy boots for a minute.
Did you wear them like with
I tried,
jeans?
but you know what? Yeah, but they killed my back.
They hurt your back? Even when
I was a kid and healthy and young, they killed my back. I could not wear them. Timberlands were a phase for sure. And then I don't wear cologne, but back in high school, there was a cologne phase, but we had like Obsession.
Oh, is that Calvin Klein?
Yeah. That was a good one. Polo, Tommy Hilfiger, Tuscany. What was some of the other ones?
Tuscany.
Yeah. Ralph Lauren, I feel, was different. There was like a polo, a green one and a brown one, I feel like.
Okay.
Maybe brown was girls, and maybe I didn't have that one. I can't remember. I feel like there were two for men. So what I was, the whole night pants thing, but Always have been and still will be always fully comfortable in sweats.
Sweats.
Yeah.
Sweats.
Always will be.
Your unofficial
I'm
uniform?
just jeans and a t-shirt, and I've tried different things, and I look back on it, I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking?
I mean, the mullet sounds fierce.
It's out there. I have one picture of it on my Instagram, but it's not. And here's the thing: it's only like mid-stage in that picture, and it's long. It's like flaring out to here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I look like a hockey player, you know.
I respect it. You said you look like a hockey player?
I did look like I had hockey hair for sure.
That's amazing. What about any tattoos?
I have 2 tattoos.
What are your tattoos?
I have Jimi Hendrix on this arm.
Okay.
Which I'm actually in the middle of removing to build a bigger piece. I want to do a quarter sleeve.
Okay.
And they can't work around the damn thing, so I'm going to redo everything.
You're getting rid of Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then on this arm, I have my dad's nickname on my right arm, which is Lefty.
Okay.
So that's my 2 tattoos.
Yeah.
I have the 2 white trash tattoos. You're not supposed to have a face and a name. I have both.
No, but
that's the checklist right there. That's
the
it.
Name is
the
name
list.
is good though. But you're getting rid of Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Was that a hard choice?
No.
You had it with him.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, too. It's a smaller version, and the black ink and everything, once it starts to not be crisp, it starts to, run
Look
together.
weird.
And you're like, who the fuck is that? So now a friend of mine owns Black Diamond Tattoo. What's up, Bree? Down on Lincoln in Venice.
Up,
it's
Bree?
a great place. She's doing the removal, and then one of her artists is going to help me build a
sleeve?
new piece. Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to get?
I want to get something that represents my daughter, but I don't want to do a name. So I want to get an old school stopwatch and put it on 10/14, which is when she was born.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then build a piece over it and then start building around that instead.
That's cool.
So I got to do it's common to do like a black rose or some kind of flower and then the piece. So that flower will cover. So we're lightening as much as we can this tattoo, and then that flower will cover that. And I want it to look, I don't want it to, you can sometimes you look at a tattoo, you're like, oh yeah, that used to say Teresa.
Yeah.
And now it's a fucking, arrow or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't want it to look like that.
Yeah. Well, I have faith that it's going to come out great.
Thank you.
You know
like
what
your
I mean?
positivity. Yeah, I feel it.
I'm really trying to process that herpes outbreak thing still because, that cafe was so fun.
I'm still going to go back. I'm just going to smoke the joints.
Yeah, you're right.
That was the thing I was getting to, which I'm glad you circled back to. I try not to drink a drink unless I watch the guy make it or it's a bottle I can open. You know what I mean? I will never put a drink down and leave, and if I come back, fuck that drink.
Yeah.
I was at a bar one time. This is at the height of Friends. I was in the Valley. Courtney Cox is in there. It was this little jazz place. Everybody's hanging out. She comes over to our table, says hi to people, sets her drink down, and then splits. We think leaves. But she goes to the bathroom. She comes back, and she takes that drink and starts drinking it. And I thought to myself, what if we were fucking pieces of shit? We could have done anything to that drink. And those are the things I want to tell my daughter. I know people get all pissed off, well, now you're victim blaming and everything. It's I'm not victim blaming, but do not get to a point where you can't protect yourself, defend yourself. I got jumped when I got so fucked up one time, and I got jumped here in California in Irvine. I ended up in the hospital, and I don't remember any of it. I got fucked up, and I will never drink like that again. I will never let myself get to the point where I can't fight.
Wait, what happened?
I was with my friend Kevin, his brother Rick, his girlfriend at the time, who was a little Beverly Hills girl, and she had some money, and this was 94. I'm 20. I was out here for college. I came here for Cal State Northridge, and the morning I woke up to drive, the Northridge earthquake hit.
No.
So I drive here anyway, and I'm homeless for a month until they get the school up and running. And I don't have a place to live. I had a quad. I was gonna meet 3 new people. It just all went to shit. And I ended up being homeless for a month, living with a friend of a friend that I just said they introduced me to. I get my own place in Northridge. The summer's ending, and the Eagles decide they're gonna do this Hell Freezes Over tour, and we're gonna go down the Irvine Spectrum and see it. And Rick drives a Toyota Land Cruiser, and the old school Land Cruisers, the back seats don't face the windshield. They face each other like you and I are looking at each other. We'd be sitting like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So it's so funny. I just told this on my podcast to Tom Segura. So we have plenty of beer and we have plenty of weed, but we go through the beer and weed quick. Well, Rick is drinking wine with his girlfriend, and we're calling him a pussy. I don't know about wine.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, you fucking pussy, wine. Well, now wine's the only thing left. And Kevin and I don't know about wine. So we continue to drink wine like it's beer.
Right.
And I get fucked up. And I black out all through the concert. I wake up just in time to see Joe Walsh do his little solo Funk 49, all this shit. And then they do whatever, Hotel California, whatever it is. And we leave. And we're sitting in this Land Cruiser. And I can't lift my head. I can't do anything. I'm just there. And I'm breathing. Kevin's the same way. We're facing each other. And we're all inching out of this parking lot that's packed with cars trying to get out. And the last thing I remember is hearing Rick say, "Watch out, these guys look like trouble or look like they want trouble." And I woke up in the hospital. And that's one of those stories. And I didn't know what happened. But they told me these 2 guys who were some kind of amateur fighters were wasted and just wanting to fuck with people. And we were easy targets. One grabbed Kevin, pulled him out. One grabbed me, pulled out. And I flipped out like, the scuba divers do out of the boat.
Yeah.
I landed on my head and cracked my skull. And I still have a permanent bump here.
Really?
The dude kicked my jaw and my face and broke my jaw. That TMJ I never had. No. I say all the time, and still, if I get a hangover now, I don't get it in my head. I get it in my fucking jaw. It hurt. My next day hangover is all here on my face. So I wake up. A nurse is talking to me. She's giving me ginger ale. Don't drink this fast. Don't drink this fast. But I am dying of thirst, and I drink it fast, and I throw up everywhere. And she's like, "Listen, you have a major concussion. You have a major concussion. You have to lay here. You're in the hospital." I'm like, "What happened?" She's like, "You got jumped." I don't know anything. Then the doctor comes in, and I'm just coming in and out of consciousness. And I remember being so cold, and the hospitals have those really nice warm blankets.
Yeah.
I was like, "Can I get some of those?" And she put those on me. And then the doctor had said, he's like, "How much you had to drink?" I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, your blood alcohol, it was still ridiculously high after hours of vomiting, bleeding, everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm not going to be able to give you anesthesia or anything to do these stitches on your head. I'm just going to have to do them like this." And I was like, "Okay." And he did them. And I was so fucked up, it didn't feel that bad at all.
Really?
It felt
you
pressure.
did it without anesthesia?
Yeah, I felt or needle or anything. Nothing.
Oh, fuck.
So then I get up and I finally have to pee. And when I go into the bathroom and look in the mirror, that's when I see that my face is out to here. I don't know that. And my face was like that, like, what the fuck?
Like swollen?
Oh, no. They broke my jaw. It was just, out wide, crushed. So.
What do you mean?
Just he kicked it and fractured it. And it's just puffy and sore and black and blue. And then I see my friend Kevin like walk by, and I don't know if I'm dreaming, and I wave and he waves. His face is all fucked up. So then the police are telling us they start to put the story together for us. Like, these 2 guys grabbed you, they beat the shit out of you, blah, blah, blah. I was rushed in an ambulance. I was given oxygen. I don't remember any of it. I just get the police report and start reading it and putting my night together. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I almost fucking died. But then the police meet us at the hospital, and they're like, "Look, you guys are still too fucked up to drive." And they tell us to get a hotel. You're not supposed to let someone go to sleep after concussion. They tell us to get a hotel.
No.
So we go get a hotel, and Kevin and I are miserable. We can't sleep anyway. We are in so much fucking pain that we're just laying side by side on a bed while Rick and his girlfriend sleep their drunkenness off because they spent the night taking care of us. And then we have to get in the back of this rickety-ass Toyota Land Cruiser.
No.
And ride all the way up to fucking 405. Just,
no.
Oh, it hurt. It was miserable. And then I get back to my room. The police call me, and they're telling me I was giving them attitude and all this. I was like, the report says I was knocked unconscious. Like, this doesn't line up. How could I possibly
be giving
you any fucking attitude? And they just didn't want to do anything. Kevin's father tried to press charges. They were uncooperative with anything. And then I went home, and I fell asleep because they didn't say anything about sleeping. And if they did, I was so fucked up, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
And I call my younger brother, and I tell him the whole night. And he lets me tell him the whole night. And he goes, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah, do you believe it?" He goes, "No, are you serious?" I go, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You just called me like a couple hours ago and told me this exact story. And I have no recollection of doing that." So now I realize I'm fucked up. And it was like 3 months of when I would lay on my bed, I would almost throw up. I would get the spins so bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then I was back in Maryland, and I just ended up snipping my own stitch. I went to the whatchamacallit, the 24-hour whatever, just to have them take the stitches out. But the wait was like
urgent
an hour.
Care?
Yeah, urgent care. And I was just like, whatever. And I just cut them myself and slit them out.
You did?
Yeah, it's just a knot. You cut the knot and pull them out.
You're fucking savage,
It's
right?
really easy.
You just pull out your own stitches by yourself.
I swear it's really easy.
From your head.
So now I will never allow myself, if I'm in the comfort of my own home, maybe I'll get that fucked up, but never again in public will I ever do anything that allows me to get that fucked up.
Yeah, I'm not good fucked up. I like smoking weed, but drinking, I'm such a lightweight.
Yeah. And mixing the two sometimes is really bad for people. Some people get really fucked up off that.
Yeah. But also, like, now I get so hungover.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, it was fun as fuck.
Yeah, you wake up, you sleep in your car for 3 hours and go to work the next day. Yeah, I'm like, I'm fine. What do you
Why do you feel fine?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, no, in your 30s, you have, like, I have 2 drinks, that's it.
Yeah.
I had 4 drinks recently. Worst mistake of my life.
Just yesterday, a friend of mine is in town. I met him here. We've been buddies a long time. He's since moved with his family to Kentucky, but he's back visiting. He's like, I'd love to see you. I haven't seen him in like 7 years. We go get lunch. But it's like 10:30. We're both dads. I'm like, let's just go fucking early.
Yeah.
We'll go to the sports bar early.
Yeah.
Shit's on anyway. I don't go watch football at the sports bar. I watch it at home.
Yeah.
So I see him get a Bloody Mary. I'm like, well, that fucking looks good. So I get a Bloody Mary. And then the bartender's like, you guys are the only guys drinking at the bar with me, so here's a kamikaze shot or whatever. So we do this shot. Then another Bloody Mary. Then they give us a Tito shot straight. Then another Bloody Mary. Then another Tito shot. And I'm telling, and I had smoked a joint before I went. I am fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's like noon. And I'm wasted. This is yesterday. And I'm supposed to go see my daughter's brother. I consider him my stepson. He's not mine, but I consider him that. And his mom and my daughter and everybody, they're in the area. And I say, well, why don't you pick me up? And I'm too fucked up.
Yeah.
Why don't you pick me up instead of, I'm not going to drive, and I'd rather not lift because I'm fucked up.
Right. Like, I don't want to be in a stranger's car.
Yeah, so pick me up. And it's so unlike me that there was a part of me where I was like, I don't think she believes what I'm telling her. You know what I mean? Because it is so unlike. You don't. Let me tell you something. If you have a kid with me, or if I'm your husband or whatever, you do not need to worry about me at noon on a Sunday being fucking wasted all the time. Ever.
Yeah.
So it was so out of character, but it also happened so fast.
Totally.
You know, that we were like, what the fuck? And he was fucked up too. So we go back to my place. I'm like, I'm going to smoke a joint and calm down a little bit. And then I hear off my balcony, hey, Dad. I'm like, that sounds like my fucking daughter.
No.
I stand up, and they're all underneath. And she had been texting, like, we're coming to get you. And I when she saw me, she just started laughing because I was like, I'm fucked up. I can't go. And I was like, but this is a really good time to introduce you to my friend James. And I think when he stood up, the look on, like, she was super cool. Like, oh, like, you were telling the truth about all of this. Got it. Have fun. See you later.
That's so funny.
But I was just like, that never happens. So, well, I shouldn't say never because it happened, but I'm like that once or twice a year, maybe.
It is crazy though, like, because I drank recently, and I hadn't drank in like almost a year, and I just was out, and I was like, fine, I'll just have a drink. And then it turned into like 4 drinks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who do I think I am? I haven't drank in a year.
Yeah.
And now I'm drinking 4 drinks.
There are those times,
Hammered.
though, that it just, like, it feels like it shifts into gear. You're like, oh, my God, I could drink these all night.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like weed, because I'm so bad at a hangover.
Weed and ice water, I'm good with it.
Weed and ice water? Is that your survival kit?
I would survive on that.
I like that.
That's my anxiety kit.
That's your anxiety kit? How long have we been going for? An hour? Okay. Perfect. We're going to wrap it up.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
so
it.
much
I had a
for
great time
coming
talking to
on.
you.
You're so much fun. Where can our listeners find you?
Everything's RyanSickler.com, Ryan Sickler on all social media. Check out the Honeydew Podcast on your mom's house studios, the honeydewpodcast.com, and links to everything are all there.
Look out for those night pants.
Yeah, check out those night pants. Come see me live. Check out my tour dates. I'll be coming around the U.S. this year on that 2020 Night Pants tour.
I love it. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Shank, and please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks so much, guys.